we're going to talk about resuscitation issues, the legal aspect of them. One of the things we need to be careful of, or we need to know, is we are under obligation to begin resuscitative efforts when a patient is unresponsive, pulseless, and apneic. So, unless there are times, however, when you determine that the resuscitation is not needed. This is when a patient has a valid, signed, in date, do not resuscitate order. The patient is obviously dead, obvious tissue decomposition, extreme lividity, or decapitation, or, simply they're obviously dead. There is no coming back from the condition they are in. Or the scene is too hazardous to enter. For crew, there was a rash, probably about 10 years ago or so, of chemical suicides where people were mixing chemicals in their cars, and they would tape a sign to the window saying, "Do not open, call 911, whatever chemical was in the car." I do not recall what the chemical was at this point, but the point is, that's a hazardous material. That's a hazardous environment. The fire department, in full SCBA and hazmat gear, were required to get to these patients, and by that time it was generally too late. So it was too hazardous for paramedics to enter. Advanced directives are several different things. The document to ensure certain treatment choices are honored when the patient is unconscious or otherwise unable to express the choice of treatments. Living wills, durable powers of attorney for healthcare, do not resuscitate orders, organ donor cards are that kind of thing. The types of directives recognized in each state are governed by state law and local protocols. Medical direction is in charge of how are we going to handle a DNR, how are we going to handle an advanced directive or a living will, that kind of thing, and what our obligations are for caring for the patient. We are there as well to support the family in any way we are able to within the description of our job duties. Some states do not allow patients to honor living wills in the field, but do allow do not resuscitate orders to be honored. You just need to know what the state requires, or what the state statute is. A living will is a document that allows a person to specify the kinds of medical treatment he wishes to receive should the need arise. They can be anything from they don't want to be intubated, but they want all other ALS care provided, or they do not want CPR, but they want ACLS medications to be given. I've seen all kinds of different living wills. Again, it kind of falls under what can we do legally as compared to what this living will states. Most of the time, a living will is for the hospital or nursing home or those kind of caregivers. EMS is generally on the outer side of that, where we may not be able to honor these issues due to legal constraints of our own. A DNR, or do not resuscitate order, a legal document that indicates to medical personnel which, if any, life-sustaining measures should be taken when the patient's heart and respiratory functions have ceased. Valid DNR orders should be honored as our protocols allow. Physician's orders for life-sustaining treatment. I am unfamiliar with this form. A POLST. It's designed for terminally ill patients, so this sounds like a hospice form. Terminally ill patient and physician consult on the patient's wishes and incorporate those wishes into specific orders. Not all states have adopted this, so I'm going to assume that either it's a new thing for Kansas or not. I don't know. I have not heard. Again, local protocol is going to override what we do, or going to dictate what we do. in regards to honoring this form anyway. Potential organ donation. Organs and tissues in very high demand and short supply. We play a vital link in organ procurement and transplant process. Whether we're giving transplant to the organ, for the organ to its potential transplant person, or what have you. Some areas have developed protocols that specifically address organ viability after a patient's death. These include to provide circulatory support through IV fluids and CPR, and ventilatory support via ET tube. It's up to your. You need to check with your protocol, with your EMS service, for potential organ donation protocols, and check with online medical direction as well. I've never done this in the field. Actually, tried to keep circulation going and oxygenation going for the purposes of potential donation. Usually that decision is made after consultation with family and otherwise. A death in the field must be appropriately dealt with and thoroughly documented. That includes the state of the deceased, the area around them, how they were found, the appearance of the residence or the location, so on and so forth. However, we're not making assumptions on to whether it was a criminal or not, but we are just documenting what we have observed and our findings. Follow state and local protocols again, and contact online medical control if there's anything else you need as far as guidance in dealing with death in the field.